We're up here in the command center, as G calls it, or my sewing room. And I have been given a couple of requests on some stitching and some information, so I'm going to share that with you today. It's the last week of December and a time of reflection and planning for next year. And I know for myself and for G, we have a lot of plans in the works. I did this morning spend a lot of time putting together my 2016 video review or slideshow review that will be on the Woolly Mammoth blog spot on Friday. And I was truly amazed about how much I accomplished. You know, we tend to judge ourselves and worry about we're not getting enough done and we feel overwhelmed. But really, when I put the slideshow together and I actually looked at all the places we had been and the projects that I did finish, I was kind of quite pleased with myself. So looking at your past year can be really helpful in planning your next year. And we have been spending the last few weeks thinking about all the adventures that we have planned for next year. So, and there's going to be a lot of changings up here in the sewing room. I'm thinking about the way I want to approach things and what makes me feel good and doesn't make me feel good, and what projects I want to for sure have on my to-do list for this year. So one of the things was I received a question about how I do the fringe on my snowman scarves. And so I'm going to demo that again. But I want to say that when I was asked that question, my first thought was, oh, so I have to figure out a project that has a scarf on it, a snowman and a scarf. But because I spend once a month prepping a bunch of projects so that I'm never running out in case I just need something to do on a moment's notice, I went upstairs here to the sewing room and found this project that I had prepped, and it was all ready to go, and the snowman has a scarf, so I get to use it for this demo. So I chose the thread that I wanted to use on this scarf. You can blanket stitch or whip stitch all the way down to the end, and then I came across the bottom with the whip stitch or blanket stitch to anchor it down, and I stopped right there at the corner. Now the thing for me that's really great is on the back side, because I want to stabilize, give integrity to my wool, I have this SF 101 on the back. And so I'm just running my needle underneath that SF 101 to the opposite corner, because I'm going to start that way. So I just pull that thread through. So next step for this little fringe is I'm going to come up on the corner, and depending on how long you want your fringe, you're going to hold the thread with your thumb. For me, it's my left thumb. And I'm going to go back down right next to where I came up. And truly, it doesn't matter how big you make these loops, because you're going to trim off the bottom. So I'm just going to make the loop that long. It looks like about 1/2 inch. So I come back to the outside of my very first stitch, and I'm going to pull my needle up, and I'm going to bring this thread across those two threads, and that's going to lock that loop down. So there we go. So then I'm going to come up next to that, I'm going to hold, and now that I have one loop made, I can kind of eyeball them. Doesn't have to be perfect, and make a second loop. I'm going to go down right next to that, not in the same hole, but right next to it with that second loop. And I'm going to hold that loop. And then I'm going to come up on the other side of those two loops and come across the top and lock them into place. So it's basically a loop up and down and then a lock stitch across. So now I'll hold those off to the side. I'm going to come up next to where I last came up. I'm going to hold the loop, go down right next to it, not in the same hole again, but right next to it. I'm going to hold that, and then I'm going to come up on the outside of those two. So I'm between this loop and this loop, but I'm coming across those last two. And then I'm going to do that all the way across. I'm making my way all across the bottom. One of the things that I should tell you is if you accidentally tug too hard and lose the loop, don't sweat it. Don't pull it back out. Just go back over the top of it. It's not going to show up or give you any problem, and you can just go back over the top and make your loop. See, I've got all my loops across. Some people will do a double line and they can go back over the top, but I think one's enough for me. And I brought my thread up to the top because I'm going to just continue either whip stitching or buttonhole stitching up this way and down here and across, come back and do my loops and then finish up on my muffler. But now that I have all the loops there, I am going to trim the bottom of the loops off. And so this is where you don't have to, you can either cut it this way or you can go across this way and just cut the bottom of those loops off, and you can kind of fix them all up there. And then you've got your little fringe for your little scarf. And so I think that just looks adorable. Also, I have to say that these little Kai scissors, the tiny ones, are just so sharp and so fabulous. They're like my favorite scissors. So these are Kai. I got my pair at the Stitch and Post, but you might find them at your local quilt store. If not, you can mail order them. But there you go. That's the stitch that creates that scarf fringe, which I just love the dimension. And I know that people that saw that on my Let It Snow by Buttermilk Basin really liked that look. And Linda from So Many Quilts is the one who taught me. She is the stitcher extraordinaire there at So Many Quilts, which brings me to the fact that So Many Quilts is going to be moving. So if you've ever visited Bend, Oregon and been to the So Many Quilt shop, it's adorable. And they are moving to a bigger space, bigger classroom, and it will be located in the shopping center that Costco is in. So a lot more parking than they used to have. So you'll have to check it out next time you come to Bend. So then, now we're on to my goals for December. I am down to my last goal, and you will see that I have been doing this. I showed this to you several times. My December goals, the last thing I had to do was to prep my Yoko Saito block of the month block. And so I am doing that over here. A lot of pieces. Although I'm not I don't think this block of the month is available anymore. You can see the blocks I do have done up on the wall there, and I'm going to finish off this next block prepping, and then each month I'll prep a new block and then the border. I love this block of the month. This is the thing about block of the months. I did not have all of those kind of taupe, soft fabrics that Yoko Saito uses. So to do it as a block of the month was fabulous. I was challenged by this block of the month though, because the picture that they would send for each block didn't necessarily include the picture that's in the book or the pattern that we had to reproduce to do that. So as you can see here, I have a million little leaves, and this is the pattern that I have to make this next block from. But on this little pattern, they have not put any of those little leaves in. So I'm a little bit frustrated with this one, although in the end, I love how it looks. And you tend to make blocks of the month kind of your own by doing your own thing. So I'm putting all those little leaves in, and hopefully it'll be beautiful. So I'm happy with that. The block of the month that Stacy West designed is going to be my quilt along for 2017. So anybody who's interested in doing that particular block of the month, it is really cute. And I know that I have talked about this before. I plan on doing a couple of quilt-alongs in 2017. So anybody who's interested in this, you just have to get your pattern and decide your colorway and start going. And then towards the end of each month next year, if you send me photographs of your block through the Woolly Mammoth blogspot, I'll post them on the blog, and we'll encourage each other to get done, because I really want to have this done. I think it's adorable. So now, the last thing I wanted to share with you was how to hang these little quilts. The thing I learned over, if you've ever read a lot of blogs, you will have read most likely Cottons and Wool, and who lives in Bend, has the Cottons and Wool blog. And all the quilts in her house are hung with this 3M command. It's damage-free hanging and will hang up to 16 pounds, which means you don't have to put holes in your walls. And literally all the quilts in her house are hung with this. And if she takes them off, you can't even tell that anything sticky was there. It leaves no residual. So I received this adorable quilt from my friend Lori for Christmas, and so I'm going to hang it with this 3M command. And the way this works is you get 2 strips and you stick them together, so it's like Velcro. So it's kind of like, it's going to hang like that. And then I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to peel the stickum off, and I'm going to stick it on the quilt. I'm just going to rub it on there, and I'm going to do it on this side. And Anne has hung large quilts with this in her house, and I've been there, nothing has fallen down. So then I'm going to put this other one, so I'm making sure that sticks on there really good. And you can use this for framed artwork. it'll hang on the wall. It's kind of scary because you think it's going to fall off and break the glass, but nothing has fallen off hers. So now that I have that stuck on my quilt, I'm peeling off this part. And then I won't have all these holes in the wall. So now we're going to go, or rather, G's going to go hang this up for me and I'll show you. I get the camera. So G is hanging this up on the wall, and he's going to press those stickum edges onto my painted wall, and there you go. These, all the rest of these, I stapled onto the wall, which was another option, but I really wanted to try this this method because I think it's great not to put any marks on the wall. And there's Enzo trying to figure out, he's been taught that he can't come down the stairs until after we get to the bottom of the stairs so he's not tripping us. But anyway, hope you enjoy this video, and we'll see you on the New Year's Day where we'll be talking about our trips we plan for next, our RV trips. Take care. Bye.